Hello, welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And today I want to talk more about Pisces men, Pisces, and I feel qualified to talk about Pisces with my moon and Venus in Pisces. So let's just kind of move into it a little bit. Well, it's like time for my meditation. But I'm going to say there's different types of Pisces out there. And oh my gosh, let me grab some water. I kind of feel like there's a pretty big difference between Pisces sun sign and Pisces moon. But yet, depending upon the chart, a Pisces moon might be way more Pisces than a Pisces sun. And I feel like people can try to logically try to understand the sign of Pisces and Pisces, but it goes beyond logic. It goes beyond reason because it's, I would say, one of the key words is nebulous. So, literally, you can think of space and a nebula. And I think a nebula isn't, I don't know for sure, but I believe it's made out of exploding stars. Stars coming together, like that's also the birthing place of stars. So it's kind of like the end and the beginning, but it's vast. Like a nebula could, is vast. Um, yeah, I feel like everything could be inside of a nebula. Black holes, white dwarfs, red dwarfs, stars, planets, who knows, but a nebula could be like. And in a really weird way, my videos and the way I'm talking to you is the way Pisces talks to you, is kind of how they're thinking. You're getting a live experience of Pisces energy. So a lot of people might think Pisces are dumb because they might not choose to speak to you in the same old everyday language because Pisces are poets. Pisces are creative and they're symbolists. So, symbolic gestures, symbolic words. When we think of symbols, they have a lot of meaning packed into those images or those forms. Um, so, just thinking of a very basic symbol, you can think of the Egyptian Ankh and how it's been referenced to a cross, even though it's not that at all. How it's been referenced to a key. And so things can look one way, but it doesn't mean that's exactly what it is. And symbols evolve over time. So you can have your own personal symbol that you have meaning towards, that that you personalize, you identify with. You can have symbols that, yeah, we can go all. So symbolic language, symbolic gestures is very much a Pisces theme. Sometimes it's not what you say, but it's the tone of voice. So at work, I'm going to have to say, unfortunately, I'm surrounded by Virgos, the opposite sign. And there's literally like 5 Virgos. And the one I find most interesting actually has a Pisces moon. Uh, and I've noticed with the Virgos, they're a little bit harsh. There's an edge to them. There's kind of, I want to say bristly, aggressive energy that comes off harsh. Like they can have like a hard tone of voice. The the tones, the sounds isn't it's just it's accosting my senses. And some of them are like thinking a lot. And a Pisces can feel their thinking process. And so I find it very noisy in their aura, you know? And so I'm sure, like if I want to have a discussion about something intriguing and I want to go into more detail and have different avenues open up, then yes, I want to go talk to a Virgo, um, or hang out. But if I'm just trying to relax, um, that type of mental background noise is agitating. It makes me not be able to relax. So I'm not really, other signs do this too. Um, and I've been accused of it with my possibly an Aquarius rising or something like that. Like in the morning is when I do a lot of chatter thinking. I have to slow my brain down. Um, and my one friend who has her Pluto in the 12th house, she'll be like, it's too much, it's too much. Gotta calm your brain down. And like, so for us, it's a timing thing. So timing, I think, is really important with the Pisces as well. And that was actually a really good example. In the morning is when I do a lot of my mental gymnastics. My brain is fresh from sleeping and intuitive stuff is fresh on my mind, and but so that's a good time for me to have personal space and work that out if I can before I engage like a partner or somebody else. Um, Another thing I have to do is I have to go on a walk. Like sometimes I absorb so much through my experience throughout the day that there's no way to release it from my body but maybe walking or doing some yoga, taking a nap, maybe all three, or maybe like a some medication to try to release the tension of all the overthinking. So I think Pisces gets accused of being an emotional sign. And in Western society or modern society, I've really come to understand that we use very basic words to mean a whole bunch, and there gets become a lot of confusion. Like the emotional reactivity of someone crying or yelling, the expression of it, according to this little book I'm reading right now, is actually a fire sign quality because it's like an action and it's active and it's moving through your body, it's being expressed. So people who are expressive might get labeled emotional. Uh, and really, I would call that a masculinated function, where I think emotion or what's going on with Pisces is it's feeling. So feeling has to do with internalizing and using an internal system to understand, to reason, to intuit. And so internalized feeling function is like intuitive. And that's what's going on in Pisces. Everything is being absorbed, and there's like inner workings, inner thinking, inner understanding, inner reasoning going on. It's not a externalized experience or function, you know? mean, it can be. I definitely do some of that. Like through my conversations, I will educate a part of myself and then and grow within the conversation. But anyways, we'll move on. That was kind of Pisces. So, all creative types in a weird way need personal space, time alone. When you're alone, you've really crystallized yourself. And then you can receive creative impressions, downloads, connection to spirit. Um, I think the word is tabula rasa, which means blank slate. And as an artist faces that blank canvas or a sheet of paper, or I should say maybe nowadays white screen to draw, to paint, to compose, you know, it can be an intimidating place, but it could also be sacred space. So in a weird way, it's like crown chakra. It's like there's your white canvas of infinite possibilities. You're like in the matrix, and you can say the word gun and a million guns show up and you get a select from a library of guns. uh, that's like quantum level. So it's good to allow your Pisces to go into those creative spaces, step into the fourth and fifth dimension, check out, um, and understand they need to do that. That's their connection to God. Even though Pisces, and I even believe Aquarius, don't really label it, they don't define it. And in and that's about being the clear the clear mirror, the blank slate, the tabula rasa, um, the divine vessel, the hollow bone, the clear, uh, you know, the purified one. As long as they have that connection to spirit, your Pisces is healthy and can be functional in your friendship, your relationship. But just like every antenna and satellite needs continual adjustments, and just like there's atmospheric conditions, environmental conditions, solar flares, um, shifting of the poles, who knows what's going on, you know? Noise pollution is a big one. Uh, Energy pollution. Sometimes the signals aren't getting through, and your Pisces is disconnected from spirit, and that's when they turn, like everybody else, to the physical world to try to meet that need. It's like they're gasping for air, they're clutching, they're reaching. Because what's really interesting about Pisces is their deepest desire is to be one with Source, one with Spirit, one with that divine realm. And that divine realm is infinite creativity. Um, so I feel like maybe a detour would be religion. Another detour would be New Age spirituality. A detour could even be hard science. Uh, you know, Atheism would be the mistake that what our culture is doing when they're trying to get to the allowance of the freedom of being totally open-minded. Uh, Spirit, it expresses itself. We capture it in a form, in a great idea, a beautiful poem in the moment. But then that that expression becomes its gel cell, and then it's dead, you know? And so we must let go and surrender and let that free forming creative spirit take on another form, infinite forms, forever and ever, always changing and delighting us with new inspiration, new architecture, new patterns of this change. It's like an endless, it's a never ending story, literally. The never ending story is a Pisces reality. Like, I watched that when I was little, didn't even get it till I was older. But even sang that song at a talent show, like in second grade. um, yeah, so 80s fantasy is totally 70s, 80s fantasy is totally Pisces world. Like, um, but yeah, there's this nebulousness that has to happen. So when people get really concrete and pushy and aggressive, I would say when women get over masculinated, and that would be them thinking too much, them demanding too much, them feeling like they have to be the man of the relationship, make all the decisions, pull the weight, pull the cart forward, you know, lead the family, lead the relationship, really define it, really get into their analyzer. That's when she's lost her grace. That's when she can't really be the divine feminine that Pisces is and also loves. So I can't remember if there was a video and it was like, it was either like Pisces or Aquarius that love to be around the opposite sex and usually have like a harem of these people. And I go back and forth. So I'd feel like almost Pisces and Aquarius are so identical yet different. And I feel like one of the big differences is the back and forth nature of Pisces. Um, but it's interesting that feminine quality of consciousness expansion, of allowance, of opening up, of sweet surrender, of infinite space, infinite room, uh, then invites the structure and the order and the masculine principle. So there's no way to escape the yin yang duality. Um, but we have to become more conscious of how, what role we're being asked to play unconsciously by the person we're in relationship with. So this is really interesting. This is a weird Pisces fact. Pisces is aware of what they're unconscious about. It's like people need psychology, therapy to become aware of the hidden material. You know, so how it's almost like a, I don't know what you'd call it. Is it a conundrum? Is it a, it's not exactly a paradox, but it's something that really shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be aware of the unaware. Pisces is aware of the unaware. So that means they're aware. But at the exact same time, it's still material that you're unaware of. It's like they're aware of their shadow. Like they see their shadow, but they may not fully understand in all the angles, all the perspectives of that shadow. So, and they may not have exactly the word for it. So that's part of their psychic gift is being, because they rule the subconscious. You know, they're the ocean. And the ocean is the collective subconscious. You know, that pond, that's your personalized subconscious. But Pisces is all of it. Aquarius is consciousness. They're aware of the collective conscious. And so both signs are super psychic when they're clear. Both signs are great when they have a grounding support system. And I would say sometimes the secret of both signs is they do need support from outside and they're reluctant to ask for help. Pisces can be drowning inside themselves. And maybe things look great on the surface. I just know for myself, I can be drowning inside. And like the Aquarius, the reasoning and the understanding part of emotions and feelings is difficult because they're nebulous by nature. And a lot of immature people are mishandling their emotions ungracefully. So, ways, it's weird. Everything will be a yes and everything will be a no. So, it's highly individualized. But generally speaking, a Pisces doesn't like over masculinated women and maybe even men. Uh, and it also depends upon how it comes off. But there's going to probably be a disliking towards it because it's out of balance. So, what's really interesting too is understanding Taurus and understanding Libra is, in a weird way, a great way to understand Pisces. So, I recently came in contact with a Libran who is also gay and of the same gender. We're different ages and we work together now. And literally, uh, soon as we started interacting, there was like this strange connection. He's very communicative, and Pisces love to listen. And his tone of voice is melodious. Like there's range and there's tones in it. And Pisces can like hear a voice like music. They can hear layers and they can extract, like read in between the lines, a lot of stuff. And so it was very, very nice to hear. In contrast to my Virgo coworker who's older, she shouts commands. She seems overly concerned about things that aren't her business. And and it was like night and day. Here's two polar opposites. I care about, I would say I care about both of them. Just one is easier to care about than the other one. One's more inviting. One's like a silk pillow. And the other one is like a rough wool pillow. It's like a no-brainer. I'm allergic to wool. Like, um, and it's rough. Someone else, that might be perfect for them, you know? Uh, Someone who's a little bit maybe more outdoorsy, a little more intense might really appreciate that wool pillow. But so I was attracted to the soothing qualities of the Libran. I was also attracted to Librans are really intelligent. And so I like the intelligence of a Virgo, but I like the delivery. I like the social, literally social intercourse with the Libran. But, and there's likes and dislikes. And I would say this person is very Libran. And so there was insinuation of, I would call it egotistical self worth, a little inflated ego going on, or at least the insinuation of it. Also, the natural insinuation of being liked by multiple people. So, already the emotional games within relationship context, even if none of them are true and it's still just flirting, my inner Pisces didn't like that. Um, it was emotional manipulation, subtle, but not subtle for a Pisces. Pisces catch a lot. Um, so, but emotions can be hard to sort out for a Pisces. So I naturally had the tendency to then back away. It's like, yes, this feels so good, and no, scary, danger, red flag, watch out. danger, danger, danger. So, so that was fun. Pisces also like the stability of Taurus. They gravitate towards wealth, towards materialism, towards fashion, towards everything that makes the body feel good, that Taurus also likes. Except Pisces isn't materialistic about it. They're willing to adapt or make believe, you know? Like I went to the discount store and got a very expensive coat for $5. And so it didn't have to be brand new. It didn't have to be, fresh. But I get the same experience. So I definitely say Taurus and Librans uh, have the same wants and needs as a Pisces. But then Pisces has that spiritual requirement. And that spiritual requirement can be fulfilled through a creative outlet. Um, so, does Pisces need companionship? I would say yes, if we're looking at it from that Libran angle. Someone to do activities with, someone like minded. And is Pisces sensual? And do they like body contact? And do they like those things that Taurus likes? The answer is yes. So Venus is exalted in Pisces. And it's no wonder, because Venus's needs uh, can be totally understood and satisfied in Pisces. That's something that's going to work out. So, Venus is beauty, Venus is art, Venus is social, like Pisces. But then Pisces has that whole extra dimension to him. That need for refuge, that need for safety, that so it's like being in the womb. It's like when the baby is in your womb, that's Pisces. Like I'm really thinking about that a lot. When you think about the womb, it's like a magic circle. It's a place of protection and possibility. And it needs to be safe and secure and warm and cozy. And when you think about sexuality, uh, it's like it's a cycle of returning to great origin. Returning to the source is where all originality comes from. And so I feel like Aquarius is the masculine principle and Pisces is the feminine principle. And the cup and the sword come together, and create as above, so below, as within, so without. And so it's it's a divine union, but it's also that 0 point, you know. It's complex. We're running out of time on this video. It usually cuts off at 33 minutes. But I want to say some turnoffs. Shallow compliments, fake compliments don't work very well with Pisces. I've noticed I've gotten a few compliments of, whoa, that was deep. I would love to go deep with you. And I was totally turned off. Also, an Aquarius friend was playing, like, trying to play mind games. That was a turnoff. So, depending upon your Pisces, where they're at on their journey, and if they're distrusting, if they're already distrusting because they've been burned, you're not going to get away with that shit. But they're not going to tell you in the moment because they do have a hard time processing everything they absorbed. But they absorbed so much. Like, I think it took me a few months to process it all. And during that time, obviously, I was away from that person. So when Pisces is going away, they're processing their experience, not just their emotions, but when things are really painful, if they're not going to express emotionally, they're going to sort it out mentally. And I would say, as deep as the pain, as deep as the distance, as long as the time for you guys to get back together, for them to sort it all out, get back to good, and then maybe reconnect with you. But I would say Pisces men feel emotions differently than Pisces women. Um, and I think a Pisces man is going to try to logically work it out inside themselves. So that might be why they're so distracted, is because they're processing and working out so much in their mind. When I think Pisces, I think osmosis. And if your Pisces doesn't feel like you're swimming in their ocean, they're not in love with you. And so if you're disconnected from your Pisces truly, like you can be at two different sides of the ocean. You can be on two different islands, you know? But if that like psychic link is broken, your Pisces is probably moving on, thinking about moving on, confused. So cutting off a heart to heart psychic link with your Pisces is the one thing you never want to do if you want to keep them. And Pisces will work it all out inside themselves. They will get back to good so they can be in their own. They don't hold grudges too long, but they may process everything for a very long time. So the time limit could be forever, depending upon how bad it got. So I would, by nature, Pisces doesn't like conflict. By nature, if you put a lot of energy into something, you're going to leave a deep impression on their brain, on their mind, in their heart. And that could be dangerous when they want to be the clean slate. So if you're overly aggressive, you're making too strong of impressions. Back off. Or the cumulative effect is you're going to break your Pisces. Then Pisces will have to put themselves back together indefinitely, and you've ruined the relationship. So I would say it's mostly on you if your relationships don't work out with a Pisces.